and this is the movie Lamb, about a strange creature discovered by two farmers in the Icelandic wilderness. A snowstorm is raging. Frozen in a snowstorm, a herd of horses rushes away, sensing something frightening in the whitish shroud. Through the veil of snow, the light of a lonely end on the farm. In the barn, a flock of sheep is calmly eating hay when heavy footsteps are heard. Ott's measured bleating breaks up tighter, alarmed by something off-screen. Play doesn't stop as soon as the footsteps are heard again. The source of the noise seems to be going away. In the aisle between the stalls, one sheep is lying and breathing heavily. The radio is turned on. The announcer congratulates listeners on Christmas and invites them to listen to the evening prayer. At the same time, the owners of the farm, Ingvar and Maria, lay the festive table. The matter is postponed 6 months. It is late spring. While the wife works on the tractor, preparing the soil for planting, the farmer takes care of the sheep, rakes the remains of dry grass from the passageway, and pours an armload of fresh hay. A little later, the couple delivers a calf together, in a very naturalistic scene, pulling it out of the ewe, cleaning the mucus off, and wiping it down. Over dinner, Ingvar reads the news in the newspaper that time travel is theoretically possible. Maria remarks that, in that case, someone just has to come up with a practical way to do it. From the conversation, it's clear that the future in all its potential glory isn't very interesting for down-to-earth and pragmatic farmers. There are certain events in the past that overshadow their lives. The next morning, they continue with their daily routine, marking lambs, trimming their ears, and discussing the fresh offspring, the best in years. But the animals still haven't finished giving birth. The dog attracts its owners to one of the sheep, engaged in the process of bringing new life into the world. Seeing the newborn lamb, not fully shown to the viewers, the farmers' faces light up with surprise. They gently lift the offspring in their arms and carry it into the house, where they place it in bins with straw underneath. While the mother sheep bleats in the pen, unable to find a spot for herself, Maria feeds the lamb warm milk from a bottle. At night, the woman is unable to sleep, adoring the sleeping lamb. Ingvar almost has to lay his wife down in a cell, and the bleating sheep whose offspring has been taken are stubbornly ignored by the farmers. The following day, the man first fetches an old crib from the shed. Maria cradles the baby in her arms, singing a lullaby before relocating the lamb. Ingvar, while working on the tractor, unexpectedly halts and starts to cry. The reason why he lets his emotions loose is not yet clear. When the tops of the mountains pierce the belly of the low-flying clouds, fog descends on the farm. In the thick fog, the attention of the grazing sheep is captivated by a mysterious figure with a horned head. However, it is impossible to discern what it is. Over the course of the next 17 days, the mother sheep persistently searches for her cub, bleating, irritating the farmers, especially Maria. She also chases the cattle away, closes the windows so as not to hear the incessant sounds, but Tao stubbornly continues to call the cub. One beautiful day, having returned from work early due to heavy fog, the spouses discovered a vanished lamb. The farmers run out into the street and split up to search, shouting a name in the process. Ada, that's what they called this mysterious creature. The lost one is found in an open field. She is sitting with the sheep mother. Mary picks up the lamb. Here, for the first time, it is clear that this is an unusual creature. The sheep gave life to an amazing mutant, half-human child, half-lamb. This creature has the body of a newborn girl and the head of a sheep, the left hand with fingers and the right hand with a hoof. Ingvar tosses his jacket over the child's head and carries her into the house, while Mary furiously shouts at the mother sheep who is hot on their heels. Back at home, the farmer collects a baby girl for Ada from the nursery. We understand that they once had a daughter who died. Meanwhile, the story is distracted by a new character. A car races along the road. Its passengers stop in the desolate wilderness to drag a bearded man in a black jacket from the trunk. They leave him in a ditch and drive away. The bearded man has no other option: to walk. Maria has a terrifying dream. A flock of sheep with eyes glowing like a cat's in the dark. She wakes up in a cold sweat, matching the raindrops trickling down the window. Hears the aggravating bleating of a sheep. Her patience has run out. She gets dressed, takes the rifle from the wall, locks the dog inside so it doesn't trip her, and goes outside. The woman, defending her right to motherhood, aims a gun at Ada's own mother and fires a shot, dragging her away. Maria, like a seasoned soldier and signaler, buries the soul far from the house right in the rain, then returns home, where she meticulously disposes of evidence, washes away the traces of dirt and blood, and goes to bed as if nothing had happened. She has no idea that a bearded man in a sheepskin jacket, lurking around the corner of the house, witnessed what she did. The stranger makes his way to the barn to spend the night on an old couch. In the morning, he will be awakened by the noise of a tractor started by Ingvar, but the bearded man is not the least bit concerned. He goes out to greet him, and it turns out that he is Ingvar's brother Peter. The host invites the guests to breakfast. Noticing 4 sets of cutlery on the table, Peter is curious if they are expecting guests. Ingvar calls Ada to the kitchen, and out comes a girl with a sheep's head. The guest looks at her with great surprise but says nothing, while the farmers behave naturally, as if there was nothing strange about the existence of such a hybrid. They accept everything with heartfelt gratitude. not trying to explain to each other all the catastrophic and untrue similarity of what is happening, the similarities of what's taking place. After breakfast, Maria takes a bath and tends to the garden while Ingvar repairs the facade. His brother wanders around the house, peeping at the woman through the open door. And when Ingvar returns, Peter asks what kind of strange creature she is. It's happiness. Before going to bed, Ada and Maria stop by to say goodnight to their guest. Peter plays along, but when left alone with his brother, he tries to say something. He interrupts the guest before he gets a chance to voice his undoubtedly important opinion, saying, "You are welcome to stay as long as you want, but please refrain from commenting on our personal life." Laying in bed, the couple finally starts to act like normal adults, discussing a relative whose duration of visit is unknown. From their conversation, it is clear the brother tends to borrow money from different people, causing upset when he cannot pay them back on time. The guest works off his stay by helping the farmers with potato planting. A former failed rocker tries to give Ada some grass to eat, claiming all the sheep do so, infuriating Ingvar. He shouts, "She's not a child, she's an animal!" The hostility toward the strange hybrid reaches its climax at night. While everyone is asleep, Peter wakes Ada up and, taking advantage of her trust, leads her into the field, grabbing a gun on the way. Once they have walked a fair distance, the man points a weapon at the girl. When Maria wakes up and doesn't find the child next to her, she looks for her and finds her sleeping in the arms of Uncle Peter, who's snoozing in a chair. Despite his distress, he was never able to shoot. Maria visits the grave with a plaque labeled "Daughter." It is logical to assume that their daughter is buried here, the girl they named after their peculiar sheep. This clearly left a deep scar of grief in their lives. But now, with a miracle happening on their farm, they see the being as a blessing. They want to hold on to this newfound happiness. Peter, who has grown close to Ada, takes her fishing in the family tractor. However, on the way back, the tractor breaks down and the fishermen have to return home on foot with their catch. The young creature, in turn, stirs the emotion of the perennially somber family, and while they're alone at home, the couple makes love. In the evening, the adults drink. Goalie is watching a handball game, reacting too emotionally to their favorite team's loss. Their shouts scare Ada, and they try to calm her down. Maria plays a recording of a music video of the young Peter at the height of his career. Under the influence of alcohol, adults dance and have fun, recalling their turbulent youth when one brother was a musician and the other played handball. At the same time, Ada is running down the street where she encounters someone unknown. His reflection can be seen in her eyes. She runs back into the house when the dog slides out on a stranger. Behind the scenes, a blow and a plaintive squeak can be heard, which leads to an extremely sad thought about the fate of the animal. In the house, Ada looks suspiciously in the mirror, noticing some features of her appearance. After putting his drunken brother to bed, Peter returns to the kitchen and tries to hug Maria, who is busy cleaning. The woman tactfully rejects his scrupulous advances, that is, until he asks if Ada knows that she shot her on a standing mother. Maria realizes this is blackmail and he saw everything. She pretends to play along, but only to cunningly trap the man in the cellar. In the morning, she takes a sober Peter to the bus stop, gives him money for the trip, and asks him to leave their farm. Meanwhile, Ingvar and Ada have breakfast and then head to the abandoned tractor from the day before to fix it. On their way, they encounter an adult hybrid of a human and a ram with a gun in hand. This is Ada's real father, and he shoots Ingvar the same way Maria shot a defenseless sheep. Ada sadly curls up next to her adoptive father's bleeding body, but a vengeful creature resembling an adult male version of Ada stands over them and eventually leads his daughter by the hand into the vast rolling expanses. A few minutes later, Maria finds her husband bleeding, dying in her arms. In a broad sense, this is a story about a place, about the fact that nature should not be trifled with if treated poorly. Eventually, it can reclaim what is rightfully hers, and then no one will think it enough.